intellectual. We don't really know terribly much about his life because not too much is written at the time when he lived about him.
The little we know comes mostly from notebooks he began writing at the age of 30. Thousands of pages covered with his reversed left-handed script. Plans, observations, descriptions, and calculations. Historians told us these notebooks mention nothing about Mary Magdalene. But they do tell us that Leonardo had all kinds of unusual beliefs for his day. He believed men could find a way to fly 5 centuries before the invention of the airplane.
And he had the unfortunate challenge of being a modern man of reason who was born into an age of deep religious fervor, an age when science was synonymous with heresy.
And you think this is the kind of man who would hide information in his paintings?
Absolutely, because he was living at a time when this information, you couldn't just stand on a street corner and proclaim how you felt on a topic that was contrary to the church.
Dan Brown believes Leonardo put into his art what he kept out of his notebooks, and that he used his subtle style as a tool for conveying his true beliefs. In 1495, Leonardo da Vinci began painting The Last Supper on the wall of the Santa Maria delle Grazie church in Milan.
Isn't it possible that that's a woman next to Jesus?
No, of course not.
It looks like a woman.
No, it doesn't.
Why don't you think so?
Because it looks like a young male. I see no breasts. The fact that he has long hair, so does Christ have long hair. So does James, the figure with his arms stretched out, have long hair. So does our figure taken from the left have long hair.
But all the other figures, their faces look distinctly masculine, while John's looks quite feminine.
It's just a matter of fact, in most representations of the Last Supper in Florence, he looks like a very, very young man.
If you look at that painting, that is clearly a woman.
So why do so many art historians dismiss this as absolutely bizarre and crazy?
I think it's because we see what we've been told we see.
But you also say you see significance in the way their bodies are positioned, and that it forms a V.
I do. Paintings are symbolic by nature. The idea of the V in the painting, the V being the symbol, long before Leonardo da Vinci, the symbol of the feminine. This symbol here is essentially the womb, in its very strict symbolic sense.
We were only able to find one prominent art historian who said he'd long believed the figure might be a woman and not a man.
In 1979, I said the same thing.
In fact, he was one of the world's leading Leonardo experts. Carlo Pedretti is head of the Leonardo Institute in Florence, Italy.
You're looking at the copy of The Last Supper by Marco di Giorno.
Pedretti believes that studying the work of one of Leonardo's top students may prove the figure is a woman.
Right underneath, he makes a portrait, a female portrait, out of John, the Apostle John.
The student ended up making a portrait based on the figure seated beside Jesus in Leonardo's Last Supper tableau.
This is exactly the thing that we have seen before, with the same kind of hair, that's right. You know, it's beautiful curly hair, a cascade like water, and beautiful features. This is definitely not a man.
Leonardo did know something about Mary Magdalene that most people did not know. Who gave him this information? The novel The Da Vinci Code suggests that he belonged to a secret society that passed this dangerous knowledge down from generation to generation. In the early 1960s, a set of documents was discovered deep in the stacks of the French National Library called the Secret Files, or les Dossiers Secrets. It is unclear where they came from. The documents make several references to something called the Priory of Zion, and a series of fiery grand masters through the centuries. The names include some of the most famous artists and thinkers in Western history: Isaac Newton, Botticelli. One of the names is Leonardo da Vinci. Carlo Pedretti was fascinated because little is known about Leonardo's last years except that he went to live in France. He looked for evidence that Leonardo belonged to a secret priory of Zion.
And I found a few connections that could not be invented. So I wanted to go to the bottom of it. And sure enough, I got somewhere.
He is still looking today. When we come back, is there something called a Priory of Zion? How did it get its information? What does it have to do with the legends of the Holy Grail? One of the ideas behind the novel The Da Vinci Code is that not only was Mary Magdalene married to Jesus, but that she had a child with him, and that after the crucifixion she fled the Holy Land and brought the child to France, and that their descendants married into French nobility and formed the Priory of Zion, a secret society that eventually recruited men like Leonardo da Vinci. There is no evidence of a child or bloodline in any historical documents anywhere. Those who believe there was a child think this information can be found in legends circulating for centuries in the south of France. Most famously, the legend about the cup of Christ, the Holy Grail.
I believe that the sacred vessel that once contained the blood of Christ was Mary Magdalene herself, as the vessel of his child, the vessel or his family.
The legend says the cup was used at the Last Supper and to catch Jesus' blood at the crucifixion, but it was smuggled to France in the 1st century. In a way, this parallels the story that is told about Mary Magdalene.
And we have the legends that say that fleeing persecution, this little boat with no oars shows up on the coast of France, and they bring with them the Holy Grail.
Margaret Starbird thinks the Holy Grail was not just Mary Magdalene, but the child of Mary and Jesus.
Now, I believe that danger to her, possibly because she wasn't mother, made it important